guys, Sean Klinger with Whiskey Throttle Media, and today we're coming to you with a off-road bike build of a Yamaha Tenere 700. Now, as a retired moto journalist, I was thinking the normal adage of with age get a cage might apply to me, and no, it's not the case. Two-wheel guy for life. That's me. I don't want to mess with four wheels. So if you're like me, getting a little older, maybe you're always moto guy, always off-road, trail guy, start looking at these bigger bikes, these adventure bikes. They make sense. You know, they're comfortable, they're street legal. You could do a lot of them. You could ride straight from your garage with them. And if you're interested, if you're watching this, if you're interested in knowing about the stock Tenere 700, plenty of videos out there from all the other media outlets talking about these bikes. They're extremely popular. So go check those out. And also, I've seen plenty of builds of the T7 that are basically making it the best adventure bike it can be. You know, making it more comfortable, putting the bags on there, the bigger tanks, all that, you know. But an adventure bike is already good at adventuring. We know that. What I wanted to know when I bought this bike was how to make it more off-roady and more like a trail bike, more like a dual sport. I am not Paul Torres. I don't think I am. I will never be. Most of us, 99% of the planet is not him. But watching what he can do on a T7 is inspiring. Obviously, that's not a stock bike, and he's not a stock human. He's incredible. But I kind of was like, well, what can I do with this bike and make it more off-roady? So I kind of picked a few areas and went through it and added some things that I thought would make sense. So we're going to go through everything I put on it and then what I think of how things work, and also just kind of the absolute must-dos and then the nice-to-dos. So starting with the aesthetics, as you can see, these are not the stock plastics and stock graphics. Plastics are from Artec. Artec makes a whole kit for these for $250, somewhere around there. And when I got this bike, I was very surprised to see how expensive the stock plastics are, because they're like fairings, they're street bike, they're not the same as what I'm used to as you know, like motocross plastics. So I would suggest replacing all of those with this Artec kit, and they look cooler. This is all one piece back here. This is all one piece, so it kind of eliminates some of the extra little pieces of plastic. It makes it a simpler kit to put on. I think it looks cooler. I also have the Artec handguards. Those replace stock. They're pretty sweet. They have adjustable little, you know, wind guard that is, I don't know, maybe a gimmick, maybe not. Kind of looks cool. Up here we have the Phoenix 90mm rise bar. I like Phoenix bars. I think they're really cool that they're just 70, 80, 90, 100 millimeters. Those are your choices. Makes picking bars very simple. The one thing I will say about the bars is that these were designed for motocross bikes, not adventure bikes. The clamping area of the bar is much smaller than a standard street bike or adventure bike. So I had to kind of move some stuff around to make it work and fit. So while I still love this bar bend and I like the way it looks, it's a black bar, I'd probably go with a adventure specific bar. Renthal makes one, or the stock bar. The only problem with the stock bar is that it's silver. Didn't match the whole aesthetic. Moving on, this is the SK Designs graphics kit. They make it specifically for the Artec plastics. This is their Dusk colorway, so it has that purple to blue, shimmery, cool. It's a little loud for adventure bikes, but I'm going to be riding it mostly off-road, so figured I could be. This is the area in my life I could be a little loud. A big part of this build is the fender relocation kit, the high fender kit. Stock comes with a low fender. It's not that big a deal to swap fenders. What you're actually doing is replacing all the front brake componentry, except the calipers. But you're rerouting all of the brake lines. So it does take a little bit of time. This kit is absolutely incredible from Camel ADV. If you're a moto guy, you might not know about them. Corey over at Camel has done tons of testing. He knows what he's talking about, has great videos online showing you how to install it. Like I said, it takes a while. It takes a little bit of time to figure it all out, but it's not, once you get into it, it's not necessarily hard, just time consuming. and it is incredible. Everything, all the pieces are well thought out. He's done a ton of R&D. High fender kit is kind of a must if you're going to make this bike off-roady. Also, it looks way better. Protection-wise, we got this Tusk crash bars. The reason I went with Tusk, so they're the house brand for Rocky Mountain ATV. There's lots of other brands to go with, but I like the way they look the best. So I just kind of liked the overall aesthetic, where it was, that it meets up here, up in the front of the bike and kind of mounts under the triple clamp. So I think that's, gives you that extra protection. Also protection, Camel ADV makes a beefy skid plate, super thick metal. Also, it has a plastic skid plate underneath. So it's like with some metal skid plates, if you hit something, it'll kind of grab onto it. The plastic gives a nice gliding surface. So that's kind of a cool addition. Super beefy, goes all the way back to the linkage, mounts up in multiple places. Also in protection, Acerbis. We got the case guards on both sides of the engine. I think they look really cool. Extra protection, extra peace of mind. Acerbis hooked me up with the Swingarm guards. So those also added protection. I took this on some, before this build, I took it on some single track that I used to ride my dirt bike on. Very tight clearances, and I scraped the crap out of the swing arm, and it really bummed me out because I don't want to do that. Swing arms aren't things that are easily replaceable. So a little extra insurance there. Also out back, we have the DID 525 chain. DID is just a known, well-made product. Insurance, I don't need to worry about it. It works. It's great. Looks great. The gold chain. Also, Primary Drive, another Rocky Mountain house brand. I got their 1-tooth larger rear sprocket to kind of lower all the gears a little bit for specific off-road riding. So we'll get into that a little bit later, but that's another thing I added. Camel ADV also sent the blinkers. The turn signals on the stock Tenere are huge and bulbous and kind of gross. These are nice and slim and super easy. The kit is awesome. Plug and play. You don't have to figure anything out. You just replace them. That's it. Has a little rectifier thing that goes in here so that they blink properly. I was a little nervous about working on a street bike because I never had a street bike before. And everything that Camel ADV had sent is plug and play. Very easy to put together. There is no tail tidy kit. I made my own. I just screwed in. I took off most of the stock stuff, left a little tab, and put the rear blinkers in there. I don't know if that is technically legal or not, but I didn't necessarily find the need to buy a specific tail tidy kit. I think it looks great. Another thing we added was from Yamaha OEM, this is their rally seat. Stock seat, very low. This is a very tall bike overall, so to compromise stock, they have to make the seat very low. It's very scooped, and it's also two-piece. This guy is one piece, taller, and you might be wondering, why would someone that's barely 5'9" on a good day want a taller bike? It's not that I want that. It's basically that raising up this seat makes the ergos more natural, more like a dirt bike, more like something I'm comfortable with since I come from dirt bike riding. Without that, you feel really low. You feel kind of deep in the pocket. It just makes it feel funky, and I wasn't happy with it. Does it make dabbing and touching the ground harder? Yes, but that just makes me a better rider, or fall more, one or the other. Some of the extra stuff that I threw on here. Now, point of contention, I bought some stuff on Amazon, and their CNC'd stuff. It's a company called Nice CNC. I bought some of their stuff, their foot pegs, and I like the way they look. I like seemed pretty quality, reminded me of Zeta or other brands that are kind of Chinese CNC'd stuff. So I'm not endorsing them. I'm just saying there's some guards, there's some pieces that seem very well made. Who knows? It's a gamble. It's a gamble. If you're willing to take it, I'm willing to take it on this bike. You need the wider foot pegs. IMS makes some if you want the steel ones. Those are obviously a known brand. I think Fastway makes some. Alt Rider makes some. But these were 60 bucks, and I pulled the trigger, and so far, so good. Motor department. in the motor department, I didn't touch anything internal. The only two things I did is I replaced the whole exhaust system with a full system from Leo Vince. So Leo Vince makes headers and exhaust. And if you use the headers, this is now a competition-only motorcycle. And I will never ride this on the street. Wink, wink. Competition only, not street legal. But I put the header on there and the exhaust and the muffler, saved 9 pounds in doing so, roughly. Sounds amazing. But if you do that, you're also going to want to get it remapped. I got it remapped from Two Wheel Dyno Works. Those guys know, they know the T7 in and out. They're just the people to go to get your ECU remapped. And it's super easy. You take it out, you send it to them. All you have to say is if you have a stock exhaust or an aftermarket exhaust, and it doesn't matter what brand. You flash it, they send it back, and you plug it in. That's it. And then moving on to the suspension, instead of going and breaking the bank on the Öhlins full kit, which look rad, I'm sure they work rad, they're freaking badass. But I wanted to go something a little bit more moderate. Racetech they're known for using stock componentry and making the best it can be. Gold valves, stiffer springs, and that really takes this bike into kind of from casual putting around Jeep roads into something that I can actually trail ride pretty hard, pretty aggressively. So I'm really happy with the way they work. Overall, impressions of the build now that I've got some seat time on it and putting all of these things together. What would I do again and what wouldn't I? Like I said, I wouldn't do the Phoenix bars again, and that's nothing against Phoenix. I wouldn't do Moto bars again. I would do specifically ADV bars. Now I know. I would 100% get the tall seat. Seat Concepts also makes one, but I would 100% get the tall seat. That's a must to make it feel like real dirt bike ergos. I would do the high fender kit 100%. It really makes it, you know, look better, but also functionality wise, you're not worried about any rocks or mud or anything getting in there. It's kind of a big thing to do, but I would do that again 100%. Must do wider foot pegs. Doesn't matter what brand, but wider foot pegs are a must. For tires for this build, I went with Dunlop, and they're both DOT tires, but they're most aggressive DOT tires that would fit on this bike. We got the Geomax Enduro EN91 up front and the 606 in the rear. This is the most aggressive knob that you can put on these size wheels. Also, these wheels are aftermarket. They are W wheels. I bought them from W USA, and they are beefier, and it's kind of a must as well. If you upgrade the suspension, upgrade your engine, you're going to be going faster, you're going to have stiffer suspension. These are all links in a chain, and if you run the stock wheels, that's the weakest link in the chain. There's nothing wrong with stock wheels, they just are not as beefy and as durable as aftermarket wheels. So big investment there, but it is well worth the peace of mind, being able to hit things harder, being able to not worry about, you know, clipping a rock you didn't see and denting your wheel and then being either catastrophic crash or having to replace those. So that's another must that I would do. Overall, as far as the performance goes, I am very happy with the Leo Vince exhaust. It sounds amazing, and combined with the Two Wheel Dyno Works ECU flash, this thing is crispy. It is super responsive. It doesn't add power. This bike already has a ton of power. It's not about adding more power. It's about snappy, responsive, connected throttle response. And that's exactly what it does. I feel like I'm on even more of like a dirt bike in the way I can blip over little bumps and in and out of corners, and it's just a pleasure to ride. And it's, you know, is awesome. Kind of a must do if you have this bike. You don't realize that the stock throttle response is not necessarily bad, but you don't realize that it's a little lazy or can be a little inconsistent sometimes in low throttle. So for technical riding, it makes a world of difference, and I wouldn't ride without it. Overall, thank you to all of the companies involved. This turned out honestly better than I thought it would. I wasn't really sure what the whole project was gonna look like and feel like when I was done, but this is basically what I dreamed of. I wanted a more off-roady, bike, a more dirt trail capable, street legal still, as long as I put the stock exhaust back on. Street legal, able to ride it from my house, is a blast to ride, scratches that off-road itch, and is just a blast. It's really awesome. So if you want to know more about this build and the products on it, please check out whiskeythrottlemedia.com. We'll have some photos, we'll have all the prices, and thanks for watching. Appreciate it.
If you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos, comment what you thought, and share it with your friends.